The Laelaps, a creature mod created by Eish Krooked, is a fearsome force to be reckoned with. Combining the ability to track prey with deadly precision and being able to strike its prey with a devastating force, it makes the perfect survival companion. But is this dinosaur based on reality, or is it a work of fiction? Let's find out. The research of prehistoric animals may appear to be a rather slow and sedate process, with lots of careful digging and cleaning followed by time-consuming studying and recording. But this has not always been the case, and the late 1800s were a pretty wild time. Known as the Bone Wars or the Great Dinosaur Rush, it was a period of intense and ruthlessly competitive fossil hunting, spearheaded by an intense rivalry between two men, Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Charles Marsh. From bribery and theft to the destruction of bones, almost nothing was off limits as they vied to ruin each other's reputations and cut off funding. It was during this time that Cope received news of a fascinating discovery that had been made by workers from the West Jersey Mile Company who had been working in a quarry near Barnesboro, New Jersey. In August 1866, Cope arrived at the site and declared the fossil to be the finest discovery I have made yet, which is quite the claim considering he didn't actually find it. The skeleton in question was surprisingly complete and a unique find in North America at that time. The fossil was taken to the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia to be studied, and it was determined to be a brand new genus and species of dinosaur. Cope named his discovery Laelaps aquilungueus. Laelaps is derived from the Greek word hurricane or storm wind, and is also the name of a dog from Greek mythology who never failed to catch what it hunted. However, this genus was actually already occupied by a genus of common parasitic mites. In 1877, Cope's rival, Othniel Charles Marsh, took it upon himself to rename the dinosaur Retrosauria, which means slashing reptile. And quite predictably, Cope refused to use that name, maintaining that Laelaps was valid for years after. But amidst the turmoil and the enormous egos, Retrosauria aquilungueus was an incredibly important discovery, being one of the first theropod dinosaurs ever known to science. Retrosauria was a eutyrannosaurian theropod dinosaur that lived around 67.6 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period on the island continent of Appalachia. Theropods are a clade of dinosaurs characterized by hollow bones and 3 toes and claws on each limb. The eutyrannosaurian part of their description refers to the superfamily that they belong to, and by the late Cretaceous, this family group were the dominant large predators in the northern hemisphere. Retrosauria is only known from fragmentary remains, but these are enough to indicate that they were not built like their tyrannosaurid relatives. It would have been lean and somewhat flattened from the sides. Their skulls were more laterally flattened, and they had thin-bladed teeth instead of the stout armor-piercing teeth of their relatives. Their arms were relatively long compared to other members of their family, and their hands were relatively large too. More recent research from 2011 has suggested that they may have only had 2 functioning digits on their hands rather than the typical 3, but these were topped with 8-inch long talon-like claws, so I don't think having 1 less digit would have had much impact on their striking effectiveness. It has been estimated that they would have been about 7.5 meters or 25 feet long and weigh between 756 to 1,500 kilograms, or 1,667 to 3,307 pounds. For most of the Cretaceous period, North America was split in two by the Western Interior Seaway, which stretched in a north-south direction from the present-day Arctic Ocean all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. To the west was the continent of Laramidia, and it would be here that the Tyrannosaurids rose and the Tyrannosaurus rex dominated. The eastern continent, called Appalachia, was inaccessible to these Tyrannosaurids due to the vast ocean that filled the Western Interior Seaway. But this did not mean that there were no apex predators for this landmass, and Retrosauria, a relative of those behemoths in the west, had Appalachia under its taloned grip. At this time, Appalachia would have been covered in forests, open woodlands, and coastal habitats. Sadly, compared to the Laramidia continent, there has been a lack of interest in Appalachia, and many of the fossils that have been found lie unstudied since the days of Cope and Marsh. We know that hadrosaurs are one of the dominant groups here, seemingly filling the niche that sauropods filled elsewhere, and it's likely that these hadrosaurs were a prominent part of Dryptosaurus's diet. With less research having been done about the ancient Appalachian continent and so few remains, we don't know for sure when or how Dryptosaurus went extinct. However, the late Cretaceous came crashing to an end around 66 million years ago with the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event. It is now widely thought that the extinction event was caused by the impact of a massive asteroid, 10 to 15 kilometers or 6 to 9 miles wide. The Chicxulub crater in the Gulf of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula has been identified as a likely impact site, and this event caused the mass extinction of 3/4 of the plant and animal species on Earth at that time. The chances are that until Eish Krooked's Laelaps mod, you probably hadn't even heard of Dryptosaurus, but you may have seen this painting. Titled Leaping Laelaps, this watercolour was painted in 1897 by Charles R. Knight, and it is one of the earliest depictions of theropods as highly active and dynamic animals. Guided by Cope, Knight captured their progressive opinion on the agility of theropods despite their vast size. By comparison, typical illustrations of large carnivorous dinosaurs in the late 19th century depicted the animals as large, cumbersome, and slow. Despite being one of the most widely known dinosaurs at the time of its discovery, the Dryptosaurus has dropped out of public consciousness and is now largely unknown outside of academic circles. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, why not hit the like button and then tell me which creatures you'd be interested in seeing a video about. I'm currently planning my content for the new year, so it's the perfect time to get a creature on that list. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my other videos. But for now, I'll see you in the ARK. Take care.